Okay. So una sa lahat, maraming salamat and thank you for joining us today in our year-end or for our year-end media briefing. And we believe, no, and we know that this is an incredibly busy time of the year for you and for every one of us. So we clearly and truly appreciate the time that you've made to be here with us today. And we really are excited to share the developments, the latest developments that we've had at the airline, and maybe a preview of what's ahead for us this coming 2026. Alright, so as we look back at the past year, what we've been able to do is Cebu Pacific has been able to sustain the strong and steady growth across the network. So from January to October of 2025, we offered more than 26.1 million seats, or a 13% increase compared to the same period last year. And during this time, we also operated 139,000 flights, no? Or up 9% as we work to meet the growing demand for travel. And I think most importantly, over that 10-month period, we flew roughly 22 million passengers in those 10 months alone, marking a 12% increase on a year-on-year basis. I think these numbers, more than just numbers, really reflect the trust of our guests and really show that the early investments that we made last year are now paying off. No? And the ongoing network expansion and improvements are really helping us reach more communities and connect a lot more people across this great archipelago and great country of ours. We're also proud to share another major milestone for Cebu Pacific this year, and again being the first Philippine carrier to operate a 100-strong fleet. We are scheduled to receive 7 additional aircraft next year, and again, maybe bringing our total fleet count to 100, because we will also have 7 exits. But this growth will really strengthen our position in the region, and with 13 A330neos, we will continue to be the largest A330neo operator in Asia, and allowing us to serve more of these destinations with greater efficiency and comfort. And given that it's the largest aircraft in our fleet, it's also the most carbon efficient, it's also the lowest cost on a per seat basis, which we will be able to pass on to our guests. And lastly, as part of our long-term commitment to operating a younger and more efficient fleet, more than 70% of our jet fleet, in fact 72% of our jet aircraft, will be NEO-powered by the end of next year. And these aircraft deliver close to 20% fuel savings compared to previous generation models, which not only help manage costs, but also significantly reduces our environmental footprint. A pretty busy year this year. We launched 11 routes, so the growth of our fleet and capacity, and a landmark year for network expansion. And you can see that a lot of the additions this year allowed us to connect more cities, open more tourism and trade opportunities, and give our passengers even greater flexibility and convenience when planning their travel. I think what we're really proud of is how quickly a lot of these routes have gained traction, and we're excited to see how they'll continue to support regional growth and mobility in the months ahead. And if you notice, there's very few Manila-based routes here. A lot of the expansion has really been outside Metro Manila, supporting the government's, mandate to try and continue to promote a lot of these growth outside Manila, and to make sure that more of these connections continue to be outside Metro Manila. And clearly, we're not just about Manila anymore. We're making sure that the growth is clearly felt across the entire country, and we continue to expand our operations in key hubs such as Cebu, Davao, Clark, and Iloilo. And in fact, if you notice, the seat growth across our key hubs are in the double-digit range. No? So Davao hub for us with as little as 15%, to Cebu, Clark, and Iloilo ranging in the growth range of 23 to 25%. And if you notice, Cebu hub, we've now connected Cebu to Saigon, Cebu to El Nido. Clark has been experiencing a lot more growth in terms of new routes, and you'll see, I guess, a lot more even next year. Alright, so what does our year-end capacity look like? And with our growing network and new routes, I think ultimately our goal is to try and serve a lot more passengers across all of our destinations. So with all of these developments coming together, we're aiming to close the year on a pretty high note. We expect the total capacity this year to reach around 32 million seats across all of our destinations, translating to what we think would be roughly a growth of anywhere between 10 to 12% on an increase on a year-on-year basis. So I'm done talking about the figures. And what do these figures really mean as we enter the new year? I'd like to call on our Chief Marketing and Customer Experience Officer, Ms. Candice Iyog, to tell us more about what our passengers can expect in the year ahead. So let's give Candice a warm round of applause.
Thanks, Sander. Thanks, Mr. Sander Lau. So formal. Like, can we not be so formal? All right, yeah. So once again, no, thank you so much for the time you've taken to join us this afternoon. So following on from Sander's update, if we go to the next slide, right? So we talked about capacity growth, seat growth, but it's more than just about capacity and seat growth and passenger growth. It's also about how we balance the growth of the business with significant improvements in customer experience and operational resilience. So if we look at how we're doing in this area, this is like our scorecard, no, in this area. Year to date, our on-time performance, despite a very challenging operating environment with continued supply chain issues and extreme weather conditions, no, our on-time performance is still at around 72% year to date. And despite that, we've still seen a year-on-year improvement of, so far, no, year to date, of a positive 33 for our net promoter score, and versus same period last year, which was at plus 6. It's 6 points higher, no, versus same period last year, and a net sentiment score of a plus 11. This is a 3-point improvement versus same period last year. So it really just goes to show that as we grow, we're not just looking at the business side and the financials and the passenger numbers. How we grow matters. We're also, so these are the more short-term metrics, but we're also looking at the long-term impact of business on the community, on the country, and obviously our impact to sustainability. Sustainability is in fact a key focus area where we continue to look at ways to reduce our carbon footprint, one flight at a time. So what we're looking for is sustainability, like a program that is really going to impact fuel burn in the long run. So as Sander mentioned earlier, 72% of our jet fleet is already they're already neo jets. This is 15 or 20% lower in terms of fuel burn. And then add to that our high density aircraft configuration, which means that we do have the lowest fuel burn per passenger carried. And aside from the aircraft fleet and how we operate, there is also the electrification of our ground equipment. And so we've had our first all-electric turnaround operation in Cebu, no, in cooperation with the Cebu Airport and Infra Capital, no, the Aboy Pieces. And so because of that, today, we burn 62 grams of carbon per available seat kilometer. That's the unit of a flight operation, no? Down to the seat and kilometer. So that's 62 grams per ASK. How does this compare versus global average? Global average is at 75 grams. So if we look at how Cebu Pacific is performing for this particular metric, we're in fact within the top 20 in the world, I think number 18. And so this is an area that we'll continue to invest time and effort and resource to improve on. Right. And so, next slide please. And so while we don't do these things to be recognized or get awards, we have been recognized and have received awards for these efforts. No? So first, the most recent one was in Singapore, where Cebu Pacific was awarded as the ASEAN's strongest airline brand. Followed by, also we were awarded as Asia's low-cost airline of the year by CAPA. And Best Airline at the Routes Conference, and Best in Finance Asia Awards, no, for Best Transportation Award. So these are for business performance. And then of course we were also awarded for sustainability efforts. And the interesting thing about these awards is that these are awards we didn't know about. We were just informed about them. No? And so another one is, so we're not aligning our sustainability efforts outside of just operations. For the airline economics, this is a sustainability deal of the year. This was awarded in London. So we're looking, even our finance deals are sustainability linked, right? And not a lot of airlines in the world have access to this. But because of our intentional efforts to drive sustainability in our operations, we were recognized for that. And so on and so forth. We'll not run through all of these awards. No? So why are we here today? Wait. Right, so we do have an announcement today. We're very excited about this. Ready? Go. We're announcing the start of our flights, our direct services to Riyadh. Starting March 1. No? So announcing today, and is it for sale na now? Is it already online now? Or it'll be announced today? Today, but is it already on now? It's ongoing. So maybe later this afternoon, now you'll be able to already see on our website, we are announcing our direct service to Riyadh. This is a 4 times weekly service, 4 times weekly direct service, starting March 1. And this will be the most affordable option to travel to Saudi. Where you save up to 57% in airfares. Right? And wait, there's more. As we announce this route, we roll this out with a piso fare sale. There you go. So I'm sure some of you will ask, magkano yan ang piso fare pag all-in? Pinakompute ko na. Ang all-in for the one-way fare to Riyadh comes out to 3,000 pesos. Right? Right? So everybody's like, yes, that's amazing, and that's what we do, and that's really the big announcement and update we have for you today. But I'll leave you with a video, and really the story behind what motivates us and why we do what we do, and why the announcement of this Riyadh flight is very important and very near and dear to us. The next video I will leave you with is a video of our 250 millionth passenger. Her name is Russell Kapanyarihan. We flew her home last December. So it's almost a year ago already today. It is a year ago. Around, yeah. It was December 11 last year. We flew her home to spend Christmas with her family in Bacolod for the first time in 10 years. And so we find that her story is inspirational, and it's a story of the same story that resonates with Filipinos and really what inspires us to continue doing what we do. So if you can play the video, please.